friends, today I want to make a simple video where I will share 5 of my most favorite pencils. And actually it's like really clickbait name, but I was thinking like sometimes I really tried so many materials. I probably bought all color pencils on the market. I really tried all of them, and especially during my first years in the artist field, I was looking for this magic pen who will help me to create beautiful sketches. I was thinking that the answer is in the material, and I was sure I need to try all materials in the world, and probably one of them will help me to create my style, to find technique which will like hold me and help me to be the best artist I can be. So after years I realized that not material is the most important thing, of course, but I still believe that sometimes some materials can be really helpful for you because it will give you extra energy and it will give you extra ideas how to work. And the funny thing, what I also found out after so many years of practice, that there is no perfect material for everyone. Yeah, there are definitely materials which is like more popular around like many artists. I don't know, like Color 2, for example, right? Like everyone love it and everyone were talking about it, but I believed it also was a bit hyped in the moment. But there are always pencils which is nearby me, and I have so many pencils, but I'm always returning for these 5 pencils. And it is also like really fun to check and just to imagine if I would need to go for my entire life only with like these pencils, I will start probably with them, and that I'm ready to stuck with only these pencils are probably too much, because I know preferences are always changing. It's totally fine, but these pencils I want to show you today are stuck with me for so many years, and I always return into them. Okay, let's see them closely. I will start with the pencil I use the most. This is the Black Wing Made Graphite pencil, and nothing super special or inspiring, just a simple everyday tool. I know that many artists don't like graphite pencils because they smooch when you draw and it's make your page a bit like dirty. Also, a lot of artists don't like it because pencil can shine and reflect like light a bit. So yeah, I totally understood it, but I personally love graphite pencil very much. I really love this brand too, but for a long time I didn't want to buy it because it seemed too expensive, and instead I use so many other brands. For example, I was highly recommended the Faber-Castell pencil because I was like always saying that I love wing but I don't like this shyness, and people recommend me Pit Graphite Matte 12B. And by the way, I really love the brand Faber-Castell. I think they have really nice quality products with reasonable price. And I tried this Pit Graphite matte, and it's really nice. And 12B kind of usually points that pencil should be really soft, but I would say this one isn't soft enough as I expected. It doesn't shine after you draw, but unlike the Black Wing, I have to press much harder to get the line, and this is why my love to Black Wing graphite pencil is the strongest. It's really soft, and I can make
lines and shading without putting much pressure on my hand. And perhaps this is the main reason why I love this pencil the most. The thing is that many years ago I was working on a book and I had deadline and worked for a long time without rest, which made my hand start hurting. And I had to stop drawing for several months after that. Please be careful with your hands because it's the most important thing for you as for artists. And since then, I tried to carefully control my breaks and I always choose pencils that are soft. I always make sure that the body of the pencil, like or any tool, is thick enough and be really comfortable me to hold on for a longer time. That's why you can see that I have this additional grips on my pencils, and also you can see that I use this cheap tape sometimes, and if I don't have this thickener, I don't know how to call it, I will use just paper tape to keep my hand comfy. Sometimes I'm using eraser and I really like the shape of this eraser because I can use sometimes it not like eraser to clean something up, but like creating the line or some shape on my already drawn page. Alright, now time for another tool, and this is also graphite pencil. This is Conte Paris Graphite 4B, and actually I always taken mostly 4B or 6B, and these graphite sticks are literally super soft, but also they are super smooth, and this is why I always sharing this on my Patreon. And I know that so many people have different opinion about this tool because there is only two options: you will in love with this material or you will hate it. I personally really love the smoothness, and I always creating some like shapes and shadows and big spots on my illustration or sketches, and I really love to combine it with my black wing pencil because, like for example, now I'm drawing the glasses, and with a wing it's a bit hard to create such thick line or create a beautiful big shape. So it's my favorite, literally so many years, and I know that it can be a bit complicated to work with this material because it's really soft, it's really smooth, and I always use varnish for these pencils. You can use any varnish you have. And also, I don't really care if some of my sketches or some of my art will smooch a bit and have this dirtiness. I don't know how to call this right, but I literally love it. So I don't care. But I want to give you one piece of advice. If you want to try this pencil, buy just one first to see if you like it. I think you will know right away after using it once if it's yours or not. And now I will show you a bit of process how I combine these two tools at once, and this is one of my favorite technique. Time for pencils number two. And I was huge fan of color pencils in the very beginning, and probably I have like two only materials. It's watercolor and colored pencils. And I bought so many different for after like this year I have a huge collection. I don't know how many pencils I have. I believed around hundreds, maybe even more. Probably I need to count it. And like after trying so many pencils, this one is my favorite. Probably you know about this brand. It's a Derwent Drawing, and I love this brand for many reasons. The first reason is that I really love that they have pretty thick holder, I don't know, like grip, and I don't need this extra tape or silicone thing, which is like really nice and helpful for me. The second thing, I love the earthy color collection. Like, it's just amazing. I love these complicated shades, and sometimes I'm jumping to more bright colors, but still, this is my favorite. And the second part is that these color pencils based on oil, and they are super smooth. I will show you. I think my reason why I loving this pencil so much is pretty predictable. First of all, it's very soft. It feels something in between just like a pencil or I don't know, like crayons or oil pastel. And I really like that I can make a sharp line if I need it, clean line if I need it, or if I need to play around and create something like more with shading, with shapes. It's really, really easy to do, and with many other pencils, drawing a line is simple, but filling a bigger area can be pretty tricky. And I really love to use these pencils not only with a regular way, but you can see sometimes I'm just drawing with the side, and it's working absolutely amazing and creating really soft textures. And also, if you just like read the description, these pencils have like a wax base, and probably because of that, they work absolutely amazing with oil pastel. And lately, I put this material away, but I work with it for some time and I really love it. And if you want to try this, you can do. This pencil is working absolutely fantastic with oil pastel. You can work on top of oil pastel with it pretty easily. And plus, it can layers well, or you can build it with multiple layers with only these pencils. And also, it's work perfectly with other materials. For example, I using pretty often gouache, and for this reason, I really often use something on top of gouache. And I really love that this pencil can really simply lay on top of my thick gouache layers and create extra textures. Thanks for that. And only one downside is that, probably for me, is that in my local store they didn't sell these pencils individually, so sometimes I have to buy like the entire set, or probably for those who just ordering the pencils and art materials in online stores, it's not the problem. But anyway, and also one, yeah, that's it. So, yeah, okay, sometimes I'm still using this thickness, but only for pencils with which I'm gonna draw for longer time, and with these pencils, like it's not really necessary. So, but they literally one of my favorite pencils ever for so many years. Now it's time for pencils number 4, and I was thinking which choose, and I definitely big fan of pencils with water soluble base, and this one probably one of my favorite. This is Museum Aquarelle Carandache Swiss made pencils, like watercolor pencils in a simple way. I discovered these pencils a few years ago, and I went through the phase of obsessively buying everything water soluble materials I could find. And for some reason, I was really inspired by creating textures at this time, especially with water soluble materials. I experiment with so many techniques using this kind of pencils, and it become something like a hyperfixation for me. I probably create so many posts on Patreon where I share my super techniques and textures creating is still there. And I remember that when I discovered these pencils for myself, I was so much in love with them. But it's always a but, right? This pencils is incredibly expensive as all material by Caran d'Ache, but I never found a better watercolor pencil in my life. It's amazing both as just like standard material, like as a color pencils. It's also amazing as a watercolor pencils, like painting material. Even so, it's really rich in pigment. It's quite soft and it's dissolved so easily in a water, which is I love the most. And I also love the shape of the pencil. I mean, when I keep it in my hand, I feel so good. Probably because of I remember about the price. I don't know. I love filling an area with the pencil and then adding water on top of it. It creates such interesting textures, even though it's washed. I also really enjoy drawing directly on a wet surface and create different effects by that pencil. Lately, I don't want to spend so much money on these pencils, and I'm still using the ones I bought a years ago. And I really want to recommend you another alternative that's much cheaper, Derwent Inktense pencil. Probably you heard about them. They are really good, they cost much less, and they work pretty similar. But there is a little problem because uh, Caran d'Ache pencils, they based on real pigment and they really like high quality, and the most important thing, they light fast. But the problem is that Inktense pencil have ink in it and it fades over the time. I haven't tested this myself because mostly I use these pencils in my sketchbooks, so I don't know actually how they will hold up if your painting or sketch will be on a wall and there will be a sun. Just keep it in your mind, please. We are getting to the end, and in the first place are pastel pencils. This summer, I made a big video where I started testing my dry pastels materials. It was pan pastel and pastel pencils. Before that, I hadn't used them for several years, and like many artists, I bought them after watching some YouTube video just because they're so beautiful and I really need it. But then just I placed it in my studio and it was untouched for so long time. And now this summer, and now I'm trying like to do this every 6 months. I pick a new material. Especially I'm trying to find material I hold in my studio and do not use. And I create something like a video where I'm testing this material for a few hours. I'm trying to create different techniques, trying to experiment, trying to create many textures, and understood how to work with this material. So this summer I rediscovered pastel pencils and I completely fell in love with them. As you probably noticed, I love creating that soft blended effect, and since I'm an illustrator who often get caught up in tiny details, these pencils really help me to make things less sharp, with softer edges and more dreamy without this overdone look. I don't know how to tell it, but they really hold me to work with the bigger spots and do not focus on small details. It's why I love them the best. But I know they are really expensive. It's why I want to show you another pencils which is much cheaper. This is brand Kahinor, probably is from Czech. And their soft pastel is also amazing and much more cheaper, like probably twice. And I tried different kind of pastel pencils, and what I can say is that many pencils have this sound, I don't know how to say, like a chuckle, like it's sand inside of it. But Caran d'Ache and these Kohinoor pencils, they really soft, and I don't feel this extra sense sharp sound, which is really lovely. I think it's time to wrap things up. I ended up talking about more pencils than I originally planned, but that's how I am. And instead of this video, I will make a small sketch where I will try to use all pencils I mentioned today, but I can't promise because once I started drawing, I often forgot everything else. And also, I'd love to hear about your favorite pencils. Maybe I missed something and I haven't actually tried every pencils in the world yet. Bye!